Welcome into another episode of the Clapp Trap. I am joined once again by my good friend Matt, and we are going to talk all about everything sports related around the New England area, but we also have some things in the national circuit. Obviously, March Madness has started. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got my Maryland jersey on. We'll be talking about that a little bit. You got the Patriots who've done some offseason moves. That should be interesting as well to talk about. Maybe I'll sprinkle in some Celtics. Also had something crazy happen in baseball that I want to talk about. But first, with Matt being here, as I've said many times before, he is the season ticket holder of my friend group for the Celtics. We go to him for bleed green thoughts and everything with that. So we got to start with the Celtics with you, Matt. First of all, how are you doing? And then secondly, how are you feeling about the Celtics and their recent ups and downs, I'll say?
It's funny. So and thanks for having me first and foremost. Had a night with the fellows last night. Sad you couldn't partake. So my feeling as an individual is about the same as my feelings about the Celtics. Pretty trash, if I do have to say so. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to like with how this team's played since the All-Star break, right? I mean, aside from I'd say Jaylen Brown being the one sort of shining light, the one spotlight, the one good thing that's happening with this
The
team
one. You could
post
just
All-Star
stop right
break. But
there. He's the one right now. He is the one.
I said this to the group chat that we're in the other night. I think this might be his team, and that's how do you culture shift that? But I mean, you probably have to trade away Tatum if you were going to. But I don't know. I love Jaylen. I want to see Jaylen flourish. I mean, you probably want to talk about like the game specifics and like performances, but like honestly, from a player, like a playing standpoint, like in skill level, honest to God, I think I want to see Jaylen somehow become the one of this team. It's a crazy take, but I see the heart, I see the drive, I see someone that's willing to put it out there every single night.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a crazy take. It's Jason Tatum's team. It's going to be going forward. I hear you, though. Ever since he put on the mask, nobody cared about Jaylen Brown until he put on the mask, right? Now he's got the mask on. He's up to, 10 games with that thing on? Looks sweet, by the way. I said this before. I don't know how you feel about it. The black mask is a million times better than the clear mask, in my opinion, by the way.
Oh, definitely.
He looks like Batman out there, whatever you want to say. He looks really cool, but he's been averaging like 30 points a game while Tatum has come back down to earth. Obviously, he's always out there trying to force things. He wanted to become, you could tell that he wants to become the first Celtic ever to average 30 points. And obviously, some nights it's not working for him, especially since the All-Star break, which I thought, and I've said this before, that was a huge hit for the Celtics in general. Going into the All-Star break, we were great. We were running on all cylinders. Everything was good. Then all of a sudden, first domino, other than the fact that you got your two top guys going to the All-Star break, Joe Mazzulla gets the interim tag removed from him. Now he's the official Celtics head coach. That's the first part. Then you go and it's Jaylen Brown finally returning to action with the black mask and everything. And that was fine. But Tatum went nuts. And then he's talking about how he went out partying afterwards and how he was still hungover by the next game that they had to play for the Celtics and all this stuff. And he doesn't play good on top of it. He's jacking up threes left and right, not able to hit anything. The guy is, I don't know what happened to him, but since the All-Star break, it has been bad. It has been frustrating. And it all starts with Jason Tatum because it is still his team. As much as you're saying maybe you want Jaylen Brown to take over, it is still Tatum's team. It's got to come from him. So I've been upset with him and his performances. And then on top of it, Marcus Smart has gone back to the old Marcus Smart once again since coming back from injury in
Yep.
just in crucial moments, shooting horrible threes, making terrible decisions, ruining momentum. It's like this team is going back to the beginning of last year, and it's frustrating the crap out of me. This is when the team was at its worst. Are you getting worried at all about, I mean, obviously they were the front runners for the Eastern Conference. We knew about the Bucks and everything, and they're going to be in our way. That's a speed bump regardless, maybe more than a speed bump, but are you getting worried at all about this team now as being able to be a finals contender or a championship contender?
This team has like potential first or second round upset like written on it. Honestly, I'm like, listen, like you know me, like I love the C's. You know, I got my season tickets the year after they traded away the big ticket and the truth. So and then I mean it was I should have bought a la carte then, but neither here nor there. There's no, they don't hold leads and they lose to crummy teams. I mean, and the thing is, honest to God, and I've been saying this since the very start, and we'll probably get into it more later. This is a coaching thing. Like this team, like it came out with a fire under their ass. Like they played well. Like it was that's a team. Hey, like we lost last year. We're hungry. We're fighting. But how do you like you can't maintain that level of momentum and that drive for 82 games? So who or how do you pick up from there? And it's coaching. And right now they don't have it. They don't have any I would have loved to see Brad Stevens add like a veteran coach, like the way that what's his name used to sit, like he was never like he wouldn't be the head coach, but he would sit on the bench.
Was
The
that
name is it?
Stoudemire or who was it? No,
No,
they had.
no. So I would love to have seen them. D'Antoni did it with Nash. I think it was like
Okay.
you would have a new head coach who doesn't have you need like some like actual coach experience on that bench. Someone that can hey, maybe call a timeout. Maybe and I can get into the whole rant about the timeout with this
Well,
guy.
let's
But
go.
I think
Let's
this
go
is
with that then.
he's their peer, right? He's younger than Al Horford. He's younger than some of the players. Like he's
Mhm.
just he doesn't. I don't imagine him like getting into the locker room and like tearing guys one. Like you don't have to tear people publicly the way Ime did, although I prefer it. But you need to be able to go into the locker room and and motivate these guys, not just be like, no, you're good, bro. Don't worry. Like you're good. Like that shot's gonna fall. Don't worry. Take more shots. Like you're good. Like that's I think that's sort of the mentality and the approach with him, and I don't like it. And not that like removing the in term tag is whatever. Like it doesn't mean he's like we don't even know the deal terms. Like it doesn't mean he's a forever guy. I get it for different reasons why you want to do it. To me, it was probably a legal thing. Like they were legally allowed to remove the in term tag as an Ime Udoka contract situation.
Mm.
But I don't like what he's doing. I don't like the way he's handling this team. Any team that was the finals that lost in the finals can come out guns blazing. It's about what are you doing now? And I don't think he's doing anything that's helping this team. I think in some games he has hurt this team.
Well, that's the problem though that I'm finding is to me when it came to last year specifically, and that's when you did have Ime Udoka, this team showed the exact same effort that they're showing right now coming out of the All-Star break, right? At the beginning of the year, it was coasting. We're fine. We're good. We have enough talent. We can probably ride through the regular season and we'll be good to go by the end of the year. We'll have a good enough playoff seed and we'll be fine. And then comes January last year, and they have to all of a sudden turn things on. They're like, oh crap, we're 500. We're not even going to make the playoffs. What the hell is going on? And then they start turning things on. And you can tell me that Ime Udoka gave them a kick in the butt or whatever you want to, or the trade deadline changed up the mentality of the team. But to me, it was the mindset of the top players being like, hey, no, let's go. We gotta start putting in effort every single night. And maybe at the end of the day, that came back and kicked them in the butt because they didn't have enough in the tank when they had to go and play the Warriors. You saw that at the end, especially with Tatum. But this team decided to start putting in more effort, and you saw what they were able to do. Then comes this year. They're coming off the finals loss. Like you said, this team decided to put in as much effort as they could to come out. We're going to come out strong. We're going to come out and we're going to be the top team in the Eastern Conference. We're going to make it easier for ourselves at the end of the year. And now it's flipped the whole situation. So now they're coming out of the All-Star break and they're like, we can coast into it. It's no big deal. So I don't think it has to do with the coach, because if the players don't care either way, you could tell me it's Ime Udoka or you could tell me it's Joe Mazzulla. They're just not going to win because they're not putting in enough effort. So that's been my major problem with it. But I mean, the timeouts thing in general, you think that that's actually a big deal with them? You don't subscribe to the thought that he's trying to let them work things out in real time so that when it gets into a playoff situation, maybe they'll have a little bit more of that mindset and knowledge and know how to get through these situations. Don't you think they should be practicing that stuff in the regular season anyways?
No, because you still have the same number of timeouts and playoff games as you do the regular season games. See, I'm going to push back on some of what you're saying here, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So it's a little bit flipped the way last year they were like a 500 team going into January, and then they hit the gas and they performed. It was the last like month or so of the season when Rob
Crushed
Williams
it.
went down, I think. But it was the last month where they experienced like this what they're experiencing now. It didn't start after the All-Star game. The difference then too was like they were the number one defensive team last year. So when you came out guns blazing this year, when you were winning, it was because your offense was firing on all cylinders. That's great, but offense is not. Offense can fade. Offense can have off nights. It can have off stretches. You're not going to hit 40-45% from beyond the arc on a nightly basis. So when that team was winning last year, they were doing it on defense because defense can be there every night sustainably. And that was a big difference with Ime. So like, not to say like Missoula rode the wave like the beginning of this year, because like it's not like he hasn't instilled a defensive mindset with this team, which is the defensive mindset was what got this team over the hump. They needed a little extra offense. If you saw it from game 4 onward in the finals, that little extra offense, that firepower, Gallinari, dude from the Bucks, Malcolm Brogdon. Those two guys add you over get you over the offensive hump and have guys that can move, like in Brogdon's case, move the ball when you need it to. And the emergence of Derek White's been unbelievable. But they don't have that defensive mindset where it's like that's where your bread and butter was like, no problem holding the team to 100 points, 105 points. Right now, they can't do that. They can't win on defense. So when your offense isn't there, because it's not always going to be there, they can't win.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I think that part of that whole entire defensive mentality, the heart of the team, supposedly, at least by his words, is Marcus Smart. I thought he was, and as much as I crap all over him, he's supposed to be the guy that goes into the locker room and throws a chair and gets pissed off at guys and tells them, hey, you got to be working harder. I don't care what my stat line looks like. I know I missed 4 or 5 threes in this game, but you need to be better. That's the Marcus Smart that I thought we had on this team, and he's not even doing that. I know that he's been injured at points in the season. I know also Rob Williams, missing out on Rob Williams for a large part of the year is another reason our defense has been much worse, because he's the true defensive player of the year from last season and could be again this year if he was able to actually stay healthy. So that's another big part of the whole defensive mindset thing for this. It's got to come from the players to me. I get what you're saying, the coaching and whatever, the mindset of the coach being like, we need to focus on defense. That is important, but if you don't have your top guys, and if you're Marcus Smart, if you think you are a top 3 guy, going out there and getting on people's cases like you were in previous seasons, that can also be the reason that you're faltering on the defensive side. But I agree with you. This team is very offensive centric. It's, I think I looked up a statistic the other day where when they're above 40% shooting from 3-point range, they're undefeated. When they're below 40% from 3-point range, they're a 50-50 team. They're at exactly 500. So this team needs to be able to shoot well. I get that, but they still have the ability to play defense. It's just like they're not giving enough effort, or they're not putting out that mentality now. But I still think that they have the same guys that should be able to do it. So,
but that's not on Marcus Smart. That's on coaching. That's my whole point, is that there's not a coach who's instilling it, who's being hard on guys in practice, in between games, who's sitting guys that aren't playing defense. Like that came from Ime Udoka. I mean, a lot of stuff came from Ime Udoka, but that was him. That's I don't put it on Marcus Smart. I don't put it on like he just happened to win DPOY. Great, but all right, so he's not performing and he's not getting the guys around him to perform. That's not you can put it on him, but he's not the primary problem. That's on Joe Mazzulla.
I just don't want to give them that excuse. I don't want to give them the coaching excuse. I think this team has enough talent to not only get to the finals, but to win the finals. I think we all feel that way. And if you think that the coaching makes a difference, that's your thought to it. But I don't think that they should get that kind of excuse. Just like I don't think recently where they're just playing down to their competition. That's another excuse that you're giving them. No, they're just not putting in enough effort for me. So I need to see more effort from this team, from the players, and I need to see Tatum pull his head out of his butt and stop just trying to jack up threes constantly when you know that you should be driving to the hoop and trying to get fouled. That kind of stuff pisses me off. And then Marcus Smart needs to go back to beginning of the year Marcus Smart, where he's willing to defer in those late game situations. Sure, he still made his big plays recently and things like that. But anyone out there who is still a Marcus Smart defender, you can't tell me that within the last 3 minutes of these last 5, 6, 7 games, Marcus Smart has gone out there and jacked up a quick 3 or done something stupid to ruin the whole entire momentum of the team. That's just what he does. So extremely frustrating from there. But I don't want to give him any excuses. I don't think that this team deserves the excuse of the coach or the excuse of players change or whatever it is. It's all about effort to me. And that's what frustrates me the most. Because if it was, I've said this before as well, if you're like the Bridgie team and you're giving me 100% effort every single night, and I could see you laying it out on the line every single night, and you come up short, that's one thing. But if I know for a fact that you're not giving 100% effort, and I could see it out on the floor, and I could see you lollygagging around on the floor, going up and down, things like that, complaining about calls once again, then now I'm just frustrated. So I don't know where we're at.
The Bridgie team might beat this team in a 7-game series.
I don't know about that. With Isaiah Time, I mean, hey, Isaiah's a dog, so I don't know. Maybe him, Jay Crowder, get some of these guys, the heart guys back.
KO, Kelly Olynyk,
the
clinic.
Yeah, yep, that's a good one. He's still making his way around the league. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm frustrated with them. I still think that they can make a run. I still think that they do have the ability to turn it on. It's just frustrating when you see them doing this kind of stuff, when you see your lead over the Eastern Conference evaporating to the Bucks because they went on an insane run, when you see the 76ers slowly starting to gain ground on you as well. It's just frustrating from where they were a month, 2 months ago to where we are at now. So
and it goes back to offense, man. That's the thing. If the offense is clicking, then sure, like the team's like unbeatable. You're not going to stay hot on offense for the 2 months that it takes you to go from the first round of the playoffs to the finals. You're just not. You need to have that defensive bedrock to fall back to, unless you're the Golden State Warriors. But that's an all-time team. That's such a rare. Like they have some of the rarest players in the entire league, like that have ever played in the league. So they don't have a defensive bedrock to fall back on. Some of that's the fact that Robert Williams doesn't stay healthy, but I think a lot of it's coaching, man. I really do.
That Robert Williams stuff is really still pissing me off.
How do you go from the first in defensive efficiency 1 year and then like almost dead last the next year? It's coaching, man. I hate people that think that he has nothing to do with it, because coaches can lose you games. They don't necessarily win you a lot of games, but they can absolutely lose you games.
I get that part, but I think people were going in there and saying, like, if you had Ime Udoka in here, it jumps them ahead, an extra 20 wins or something like that over Joe Mazzulla, because Joe Mazzulla won't take timeouts. I think that's ridiculous. That kind of
not 20
the timeout
wins,
thing
like,
is too much.
A couple.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to call. He doesn't know how to call timeouts. From coach to coach, that man needs to learn how to call a timeout.
Did you see him the other night against the Timberwolves when he was running out on the floor in that last second situation? It's like they're not even giving him the timeout calls if he wants them,
because they just assume he's not going to take one. Although I only watched it real time, so I saw the replay real time. I didn't see him running and like hollering for the timeout. I saw him running, but like maybe he was just saying it and not doing this. But I don't know. I didn't. Like, I watched the replay and like
timeout.
They're like laboring in. They're like time.
Please, timeout.
You can't whisper it. You got to get on the court and get right in the guy's face.
I saw it. The camera kind of pans away from him for a second. It looks like he's not doing it, and then it pans back, and he's freaking out in the middle of the floor. So I don't know. I didn't think that Ime Udoka was the reason for the success last year. I don't think that Joe Mazzulla is going to be the reason for any failures this year. It's all on Tatum and Brown, if you ask me, or Brown and Tatum, if you ask you, because it's Brown's team.
It's not. I want it to be, but
it's all right.
Honestly, man, like this team was never first in defensive efficiency. They had 1 year where they were the Ime Udoka year, and then now they're not again. How can you discredit the fact that it was coaching, man? I'm pushing back on that hard, because it's the proof's in the numbers, dude.
I want to look up right now how many games last year you had Rob Williams and Marcus Smart compared to this year, because that makes a huge difference on your defense overall, if you ask me. So if we're talking in that sense, then that's players. But I mean, I get what you're saying. I just don't think that in this league, this NBA, you can talk about it in other sports, coaching matters. Coaching does not matter in the NBA to me. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. So, who's the last coach that actually mattered in this league to me? Maybe Popovich. There hasn't been a Celtics coach that's made a difference to me. Guess who came from
the Popovich tree?
Okay, all right.
The Popovich tree.
There's not been a Celtics coach that has made a difference to me. Not Doc Rivers, not Brad Stevens, not Ime Udoka, not Joe Mazzulla. None of these guys are making any difference to me. It doesn't matter. It's all about the players on the floor, what they're doing, what they're putting in for effort. To me, that's I know you can't really change my opinion on this one, but right now and going into this year, yes, I did have a take about how coaching doesn't matter. So this is all me continuing to back that whole take up, because if the Celtics go to the finals and if they by any miracle win the finals without Ime Udoka, then it's a wrap for the coach conversation. Because if they turn this thing back around, listen, if they turn this thing back around and they start winning in the playoffs and they go on a huge run and the defense hasn't gotten that much better, are you going to continue to say that, oh man, Joe Mazzulla is holding them back? Or are you going to say that the team finally turned it on, the team ramped it back up, stepped on the gas once again? What are you going to say in that situation?
It will be because the offense turns it on and they're on a hot streak. They like go on a 2-month hot streak. That's what it's going to take. I mean, that's the difference right there. I mean,
well, hey, that's all you need.
I think the proof's in the numbers, man. And again, like the coaching, it doesn't necessarily win you games, but bad coaching can lose you games. And look at, I mean, that's a million. I'm not going to block your transition if you're trying to do something else here. But I could rant about this for a long, long time, because I think it's a disservice to have someone younger than their players coaching this team. I really do. Okay. You should just get ChatGPT to coach the team.
They'll know when to call a timeout. No, we'll talk about this more. I'll give you more time to rant in future episodes for that. But you're saying that it only takes a couple of months or a month of good offensive play to get you where you need to be. I'm thinking of another tournament that's going on right now that has a similar thing with the NCAA tournament. They just got to get hot for a little while and see what can happen. So I am going to make a transition to March Madness, which legitimately started yesterday. I guess you could technically say it started back on Wednesday or Tuesday with the play-in games, but that doesn't really matter. The March Madness bracket started off yesterday. I hope everyone's doing good. I'm basically already busted because of that stupid Arizona game where Princeton comes out of nowhere and is able to do something. But I just wanted to talk about it really quickly because I enjoy this time of year, being able to be an extreme casual fan of a sport that's hyped up to this level. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about when I'm betting these games or when I'm watching these college games, but it's fun as hell to be able to do it. Don't you agree? This is a great time of year for sports.
Especially because sports gambling is legal in the lovely state of Massachusetts now. It makes a huge difference. But no, it's yeah, I mean, it's my opinions of teams are based on like, oh, I saw like one game like in the middle of the year or the middle of the season, or like towards the tournament time, like the conference tournaments, and or maybe that team maybe lose money one time, so I bet against it. Like we all have no idea. I will say I didn't see Arizona do it. I didn't have them going far, so like I'm not heartbroken by that. But as long as Duke made, I was Duke, UCLA, Bama, not Houston. Who did I have coming out of the other side? I don't know. I printed up my bracket like an old geezer, so it's somewhere around this lovely hotel room that I'm in right now. But yeah,
make sure
exactly.
You highlight
not a lot of red highlights, not a lot of yellow or green highlights yesterday. That's for sure.
Yeah,
but nothing that's gonna break the bracket. I know your big Maryland team sitting here rocking the jersey. Did you have them win in next round?
Oh, it had. Well, no, because they're going to go up against that scumbag team in Alabama who's over there just hanging out with guns and possibly being linked to murders and things like that. But they're going to still continue being allowed to. Hey, well, I just got to say allegedly because I don't know the whole story, but it seems like they've been into some pretty bad stuff over there with Alabama, and now they're still going to get a chance to go on a huge run with their best player, who should probably be in some trouble. I mean, I don't know how much you got into that.
Just a smidge. Just a smidge. It just shows you the morals of the NCAA, which is crazy, right? Isn't what's his Charlie Baker? Isn't he running it now? I mean, isn't he the head of NCAA?
I forget his actual position, but he is involved somehow with the NCAA. He's up there. I forget the actual position, but he is involved with it. So that's an interesting one. But
it's not like just like a sport. It's all of NCAA athletics, right?
Oh, is that? I didn't even know if it was that. I guess, it didn't really link to any. Maybe I should look it up instead of just guessing about this. But
I'll just tell you that right now.
while I continue to rant about the fact that the NCAA is scummy. We know that. We always make fun of it because South Park made a good job of making fun of them that one time when
Crack
they had
baby basketball
student athletes and things. How do you pay your student athletes? But that is really a big part of the whole thing. That's on one side. In one sense, I'm starting off this segment talking about how much joy it brings to be a casual fan of these kids who are just putting their lives on the line, putting their hearts out there on the floor for us to try and hit a buzzer beater and extend their magical run through the tournament. And then on the other hand, I'm talking about how horrible the organization really is for all of athletics in college because of how much they take advantage of these players. I know that now we're starting to pay them and it's starting to get better from that sense, but man, I mean, I don't know which organization is worse, the NCAA and how they treat their players, or the NFL and how scummy they are with their players and what they're allowed to do. So it's just funny to look at it from that perspective.
Got sidetracked.
What's
Who was
Charlie
the second
Baker?
one you just said? You said NCAA versus who? Sorry, I got a message across the screen. Oh, yeah. I thought you were gonna say like FIFA or something, because FIFA you can definitely make a case against like the no, I think NCAA is way worse than the NFL. And so Charlie Baker is he runs all the NCAA athletics. Scorpio, if you're curious.
Okay.
So, but he assumed office on March 1st. So I know the incident happened before he took office, but he can definitely be in a position I mean, he should come down with a hammer on something. I don't know, like what is like legal, like what he's allowed to do is what I'm trying to say. But like you think about, like, everyone hates Goodell, right? But Goodell, when he came in, he had like Mike Vick right off the cuff, and then like criminality, that sort of handled itself. But I don't know. I think Charlie Baker should make a statement. I mean, it'd be a good opportunity for him. And I love the way I love him as a businessman. I love him that he ran Harvard Pilgrim for a while. He's a venture capitalist. Like, he's got a lot of I've always been a fan, because I think I don't care however you align. Like I can. He's a moderate Republican. He's so, and that's why he was a successful guy in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And I'm very surprised, but maybe it's party alignment why he's not doing something about gun stuff. I don't know, but I'm quite shocked by it, to be honest.
Maybe he's too much of the new guy. He's coming in. He doesn't want to create too many waves right out the gate. I don't know, but yeah, it seems like it's too late.
Wave it up.
It seems like it's too late now, right? They've already played their first game. It's not like you're going to go in there and be like, oh yeah, actually he's suspended for the rest of the tournament. They should have made a stand before the whole thing started. Take that guy out, that kid out, who from everything that I read about it, and if you haven't read about it yet, you should go on your own time and take care of that. But it seems like a pretty sketchy situation that he was involved in. So I don't know how he's allowed to play in the NCAA tournament, but whatever. And I'm sure that Alabama will get a good run out of it, and that'll be nice for the whole entire tournament and everything. Some good games, but is it worth it for your integrity, Mr. Charlie Baker? I don't know. I don't know. Integrity, and that was the Clapp Trap talking politics again. Yeah, right, exactly. But it's it was fun. It was a good day yesterday. I know that, like you said, with sports gambling being allowed now in Massachusetts from the comfort of our own couches, it's more fun. We're going to be hanging out later on today, betting on day 2 of the tournament as well. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, once again, I bring it back to, I love the casual side of things. I love being able to go out there and bet on a team just because I have their jersey and I have no other reason to bet on them and see if they'll win. I have no reason of, why they'll win or why they'll lose or anything like that. It also takes away from the sting as a gambler if they do lose, because it's like, I didn't know what I was talking about anyways, right? So that's a big part of it.
Yeah, me. It's only money.
It's only money. Who cares? Hey, the way that these sports books have been working out, it's all free money at this point. So much free money, free internet money. I'm enjoying that. I've been running through the internet money like it's nobody's business. But I've had fun with that. That'll continue. I hope everyone's brackets are doing good. Mine's basically already busted on day 1, which I don't know. I don't really care about, but I'm going to have fun gambling on it. And we're going to do that as the day continues. But there's another team that I want to talk about here in the show today, a team that is making moves with their offseason and getting a little more interesting over these last couple of days, especially yesterday. I'm talking about the New England Patriots. Now, we've talked about this before. I know, Matt, you're a Brady Bobo, and you followed him down to Tampa Bay, but now he's gone, so you got to come back to the Patriots. You got to think about this squad once again. I got to ask you, obviously, they let go of Jacoby Myers. He was asking for about 11 million a year. He goes to the Raiders. Then the next day, I think it was the next day or 2 days later, they're signing Juju Smith-Schuster for the same exact contract. So I'm asking you, how have you enjoyed or what have you thought about the Patriots offseason so far? Do you like the moves? They've also made a couple of other moves recently. Where are you feeling this team is at this point?
I definitely have an opinion or two. I got to ask, what's the YouTube etiquette here about alcohol consumption? Because your boy might need a hair of the dog real quick.
Go for
I
it. You
can
go
block the
for it.
camera if I got it. But
No, you go
it's
for it, my
sponsored by
man.
White Claw.
Sponsor free. Yeah, right. Maybe we'll blur it out, but yeah, go for that.
I mean, so there, it's a lot. I mean, not lateral. I like Juju Smith-Schuster probably more than most, but more than Jacoby Myers. You don't have the chemistry built in there yet, so we'll sort of a wait and see when, hopefully they can develop. Then you have to assume that things are going to gel better in general because you have Bill O'Brien, calling the plays and behind the play sheet. I'm still waiting for, like, I don't want it to be this plus the draft. I think the totality of stuff, like, so James Robinson, that's good, but what did Damien Harris is he here? Like, is he signing away? Like, I feel like I missed a news note about him.
I haven't seen really much about him, but I think he's going to sign away somewhere else. Maybe I'm missing something. If I am, whatever. I haven't heard.
I would have loved Jamal Williams. He would have been great here. But you get James Robinson. So you're not really adding. There's no big playmakers you're adding. You still don't have arguably a 1 or a 2 at the wide receiver spot.
No.
I mean, maybe you have a 2, but like again, that's the guys elevating and playing above themselves. I would have loved for them to address quarterback. I think the Tom E. Curran reports, he puts it in a pretty good. Not even a report, just sort of his angle. It's like you get this guy at $5 million a year. Like he's your quarterback. He's not going anywhere. So I mean, this is.
What did you want them to do? You wanted them to go trade away Mac Jones for somebody else? What were you thinking? Or don't tell me you're a Bailey Zappi guy.
Is Mac Jones the long-term answer? Do you think he's going to be a franchise quarterback for 10 plus years?
I'm not ready to say that, but I am ready to give him this year with a competent offensive coordinator to make up for last year. I'm not saying that he couldn't be crappy and last year wasn't exactly what he is. And the frustrations of him freaking out on the sidelines and things like that. You see the negatives that can be there, but you also saw year one where he showed you some major positives. He was able to use some of those lesser wide receivers like Kendrick Bourne, where they actually allowed him to be out there, and he seemed like he was a comparable quarterback. So I don't know. It's still very much out for me on whether he'll be good or not. I have confidence that he'll be better this year with a competent offensive coordinator, and I think he deserves that one more chance. Is how I feel.
Yeah, it's probably an overreaction to go find like your Aaron Rodgers, your Lamar Jacksons of the world to go bring some like a big name in here. So it is an overreaction. This year, I think after this year, it wouldn't be an overreaction because you'd have a bigger sample size and you'd know what you have. Yeah. You ruin there's such a good evaluation period. It's the first 3 years of a quarterback's of being in the league, and you just pretty much flushed one of those years down the toilet.
Yep.
Because you wanted to put more money in your pocket because you could, you have a budget for coaches and you don't have to pay 2 of your coaches. So you just, as an old man, pocket more money. That's drives me banana land.
He was getting paid by the Lions, right? Who cares? He was, or Patricia, who was getting paid by? Yeah, was it by the Lions?
But I'm saying but Belichick did that to put more money in his own pocket because he has a coach budget, and when someone else is getting paid, it's just.
I'm not. I mean,
that's another Nantucket house right there. You just save like $2-3 million off like each coach.
I don't think it was necessarily about money. Maybe it was, but I think it was more about him trying to give his buddy who didn't deserve another shot, one more shot in the NFL, which that's on him just being like, oh, this is my good friend here. He's down on his luck. I want to give him another shot. I don't know why you did it through the offensive coordinator side of things, but that's what that felt like to me. It was a complete dumb decision, bonehead move, all that. I agree with that. But I'm not going to say that it's because he wanted a couple extra million in his own pocket. I think it was more that he wanted to give.
It definitely was.
I think he wanted to give his buddy, who sucks as a coordinator or as a coach, one more chance. I'll give you one more. You've been so nice to me.
Put him somewhere on the defensive side.
Yeah,
to put him somewhere on the defensive side.
Already had
put
Mayo
Joe
his own
Judge
kids.
somewhere on the special team side.
Already
So
had
find a consultant, kind of consultant role for him. It was garbage. That's like, hey Zach, you host a great podcast, talk show, all radio shows. Go manage a hedge fund for me. Like that's the level of this. Like it makes
Oh yeah,
zero
no.
sense.
It was a dumb move. I agree with you 100% on that, but I don't agree with you that it was just to put money in his own pocket. That ended up being probably the outcome. And sure, I don't know. I think that, and this is all coming from a standpoint of, I think Belichick has made way more than enough money. I don't think that he really cares that much at this point about how much money he's getting. He's trying to hook up his buddy. He's trying to hook up his family to the detriment of the team. That is frustrating. You want to tell me from that standpoint, yes, I'm fully on board with you. But to put a couple extra million in his pocket, the guy, as you've complained about for many, many years, has made way too much money every single year as being the coach. I think he's okay. I think he's all set with the money.
I don't know, dude. That millionaire's tax they get in Massachusetts now. That's that hurts. You know, he offset that tax by adding Matty P and Joe Judge. So I'll get off this soapbox, but believe you me, I've got some feelings on it.
Hey, I like it when you're on a soapbox. Don't worry, we'll get you on another one right here. All right, so you go from that that soapbox, but back to the actual players themselves that this team is getting, the offseason moves that they are getting. Like you said, you add James Robinson, which that's whatever. Harris went out. He is a receiving style back. He has had a 1,000-yard rushing season, James Robinson, his first year with the Jaguars. We all saw that. Then he went downhill in the second year because he had a bozo coach, just like we were just talking about bozo coaches down there for the Jaguars. Then he gets traded to the Jets last year, doesn't do anything there. I still think he has something to give you. I think he could be a weapon in the passing game, which is always good for dump down Mac Jones. That is going to be solid for this team. And then you obviously have Ramondre Stevenson as well. That is always good. But the team also added Juju. They also added Mike Gesicki now, the tight end from Miami. So do you like that move at least? You basically have another Hunter Henry now. Both of those guys, to me, feel like the exact same player almost. Do you like that move?
Do we? I mean, I don't mind it. Do we know the contract terms of Gesicki? I caught it briefly this morning.
I don't.
But do we know what he signed for?
I haven't seen the contract for that. I do know James Robinson is the 2 for $8 million, and then you got Juju for the 3 years, $21 million. I don't know what Gesicki's is at this time. I'm assuming it's probably not a break the bank kind of deal. He's going to be closer to that Robinson style, I would assume.
I would imagine it's probably cheaper than what Jonnu Smith was. So that's the idea. I mean, the thing is, I don't know enough about like offensive packages and offensive sets to know like why Jonnu Smith, who I thought was great in Tennessee, honestly, like, I thought he was like, and here like he wasn't getting involved in the offense. You heard so much talk about like put him in the backfield, like do something crazy. Like they obviously never did. Guy scored 1 touchdown his entire time here, which that's a pretty big departure from having a red zone threat tight end or 2 on the roster for the past 10, 15 years. So I mean, I don't like. I Gesicki is a good end zone threat. So I mean, he seems like he's like, from what I've watched him, because I think I had him in fantasy one year, so I watched him a little bit. He's definitely like he's Hunter Henry-esque. They definitely can do the same thing. So we'll see. I guess they just did not love the Jonnu Smith signing, which shame on Bill for giving that guy a whole bag of money and getting zero production out of him.
Yeah, that's another one that you could question for sure. I hated that. I loved the move at the time. I thought that he was going to be great. Like you said, I thought he was good in with the Titans. I thought he could play that kind of H-back role. We're going back to scumbag Aaron Hernandez style. Would get him set up next to Mac Jones, get him the ball quickly and let him do work. He's good with the the yards after catch and everything like that. But yeah, they just didn't use him. And that could go back to the bozo move with Patricia as the offensive coordinator, not even understanding how to utilize 2 tight ends in an offense because he had to figure out how to make somebody block at the same time. That was frustrating, but that was a complete blown. That and Aguilar, the 2 worst decisions that they made in that free agency class, clearly. Everybody knows that at this point.
Definitely.
They spent way too much money on those guys for basically no production whatsoever. So I am happy that you bring in Gesicki because I think, like you said, he could be an end zone threat. He can also block a little bit. He's just like that Hunter Henry guy. You could interchange those 2 guys. You basically have the same guy. Gesicki, to me, He's got that like Gronk size to him, but nowhere near the Gronk talent, by the way. But he can do a little bit, and he will be a good addition to them. The things that I've been thinking about now seeing this, and I'm happy that they're making these moves. But once again, like you said before, I hope that it isn't just we're going to make a couple of these moves here, and then we're going to draft well, and we're going to go into the next regular season thinking that this is going to be enough, because it won't be enough. It won't be enough. And I was starting to get worried after the Jacoby Myers loss, not about Jacoby Myers specifically, but more about the thought that they were in the mindset that, okay, we already made our big move. We already changed offensive coordinators, and that's going to be our big move for the offseason, because then I would be extremely worried. That would be it. Don't get me wrong. That was at the top of my list for offseason moves. Get rid of Matt Patricia, bring in somebody who's competent. That was at the top of the list. I agree. But that doesn't mean that's the big move that you do for the offseason, right? That's what I was starting to get worried about with that team. So
yeah, I mean, teams need coaches. I know you hate coaching overall, but teams need
not
coaches.
football.
So
not
I mean,
football.
all right, yeah, fair enough. I mean, this is what I do like is that I'm gonna assume that not that Bill O'Brien's like calling the shots or like making the moves, but I assume his input is like he probably was on board, if not wanted James Robinson, Mike Gesicki. Like these things, like he's behind it. You have someone with a focus on football because like his focus is here, right? I know he's got family. He's an adult. He's got a lot of things on his plate, but
Right.
he's got like he's here because he wants to be a head coach again in the NFL, right? So his mind is on football. His mind isn't I want a wins total. I want to hire my buddies. Like his mindset is I want to win games. I want to like construct a good team. So I like to think I'm in my Patriot just happy place right now that he's not behind the decisions, but in support of or like was the person that initiated some of these signings. At least I hope, because I mean, again, like it's the old Bill Parcells thing, right? Like you're gonna make me cook but not shop for the groceries. I do hope that Bill O'Brien is sort of like championing some of these picks or some of these free agent moves, and I hope they're not done. I really, really hope they're not done, because I want this team. This team got booted out of a Sunday night game, dude. They got flexed out. Like they're becoming more and more irrelevant. So and it only supports people like me who are like, yeah, F the Patriots, this, that, and the other. Like, they're falling off a cliff. Like, it only helps bolster my point. So do things to make people like me, not that they care about me, but do things to make me wrong. Make me wrong. I would love to be wrong on this situation.
Yeah. No, I want you to be wrong. That's for sure. I would love to be able to throw that in your face, but yeah, I don't think that they care if
you have been wrong for 3 years, my friend.
Well, I don't think that they care if you are happy with the decisions that they've made, though. Let's be honest about that. They don't care about the people like you that jump the ship, and they're saying, no, you need to go out there and you need to get all the talent right now. And then those same people would be like, if those players blew up in our face, oh, you idiots, I can't believe you went out there and got all that talent. You guys are so dumb. So nobody cares what those
don't make
people
bad
think.
decisions then.
Yeah, so
make good decisions. I don't get paid millions of dollars. You do. Go make good decisions.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, it's just that I do think that you're right. I think that Bill O'Brien is big and heavy in getting these players, these specific players, but I also hope that you're right and they're just not done yet. Now, I've heard heavy rumors about them going after a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, and while I would absolutely love that type of a move, I've also heard rumblings about how Bill O'Brien and Hopkins absolutely hate each other from their time spent together on the Houston Texans. So I don't see how that's going to work if they are that big in grudge land, which I know about a grudge or two. I can understand that whole thing, that whole vibe. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll go after Jerry Jeudy instead from the Broncos. Are those the two guys that you're thinking about as well? Is there anybody else that you have on your radar that you're thinking about that you want this team to go after, or just a number one wide receiver, number one weapon, basically?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head with those names. There's no one that I'm imagining that's like outside of those guys that like I would want to bring in for a number one that I can think of. You never know who's on the trade market. I would love to see, because I think San Francisco is probably trying to offload one of what's
Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, but that's big. Like who the hell plays behind him? Why am I drawing a blank right now? Yeah, I know like they probably think they can get 80%, 90% of Deebo Samuel's production out of Ayuk if they were to trade away Deebo and not pay the big contract. We've seen the way that we've treated San Francisco receivers so far with Kendrick Bourne. We haven't exactly utilized them the way that we should. That can all change because we have an actual offensive mind here now. But I think I agree with you. It's about. I think the defense is pretty shored up. I know losing McCourty sucks. Maybe you want to get a safety so maybe you draft someone in like the second round to sort of try to backfill there. I think the defense is shored up though. I'm confident, but I think you need explosiveness. I think you need like you're going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tua, maybe Brady. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in Miami? You could very easily, very conceivably go 0-6 in the division. So go compete. Go get involved in that arms race. You have to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I still think that the Aaron Rodgers experiment is going to be interesting to me. I feel like there's a very heavy chance that he could just start to not care, or the New York media could drive him to a place where he's like, screw you guys, why am I even giving effort for you or anything like that? So I'm still out on that. They would be on paper, the Jets are a better team by getting Aaron Rodgers. Don't get me wrong on that. But I still think that his crazy attitude that he has could drive that team in a weird direction anyways. Miami, you don't know what's going on with Tua, but I still think that unfortunately Miami is a better team on paper as well. Bills are getting worse. They're obviously better. So I agree with you. It's going to be a tough road this year for the team, but I'm not going to throw out that they're going to get completely waxed in the division just because I think there's some crazy situations that could go down. You never know what'll happen with the Jets. I'm never convinced about the Jets. Even if you go out there and get Aaron Rodgers, I think that there's a chance that you could blow up and just Jets yourselves into a terrible season very easily. So, I mean, you saw with the Packers these last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers can still go out there and give you some dud performances, still go out there and lose you some games and put their team into a bad position anyways. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
but
because he wasn't invested. He didn't care this year, which he could very well not. He could not care in New York. You don't know, but I think he's
good.
I think he's got one. I think he's got one like good revenge year in him. I think like his second season with him, who the hell knows? He might just be playing to make this $55 million. But I think this year he's got some P and V, some some vinegar in him
Okay.
he's salty. He wants to do it this year. I believe it. I think they'll go to at least the AFC Championship this year. If he goes there, he's got his guys. And don't do that defense is nasty. I mean, they couldn't like stay off the field because the offense was so inept. So
they have weapons on
I
offense
like the Jets
too.
this year.
They have weapons. That Wilson kid, the wide receiver that they have, is
Mercedes
legit.
Lewis.
Mercedes
Lewis, Randall Cobb.
No, well, and then they brought in safety blanket and Lazard. Yeah, we'll see how all that goes. I don't know how they'll be.
Hopefully, he doesn't do the Josh McDaniels thing and not go there.
That'd be nice. But it does bring up another point of he's kind of doing the Brett Favre thing. It's funny how the Green Bay Packers quarterbacks, they end up going to the Jets next after they leave the Packers. I know that you're going to go to the AFC, but you pick the Jets again. But it does bring up the thoughts of, you said it yourself, Tom Brady might, or there's been rumors, at least your boy Scott Zolak seems to think that there's 100% chance that him coming back and playing is a possibility. That's what he said. It's 100% in play by Scott Zolak. So I know that you're excited, you would be excited to have him back, but is there any part of you at all that is like, man, I don't want him to be like Brett Favre. I don't want him to do the will he won't he every year, try and jump team to team. Does any of that get annoying to you?
No, because he did so much. I can disapprove of things that he does and not like some of the things that he does for in the media, or some of the attention. It's just sort of like you roll your eyes, but the man pretty much got like a free pass. I mean, in my mind, six championships, like you can be
7
a little
for
bit
you.
cringy. If oh yeah, I mean, I'm still following the Bucks this year. No, it's cringy. It is so. I think he's been out of the spotlight like for at least like the past month though, which is like a good thing. Like he hasn't been able to do that before. He has which is nice. But good. I think he was 40 days, 45 days was I think he gave up football for Lent last year. That's why he was only gone for that long when he retired. So we'll see. Right now it's about that time. Like, is he coming back? He might jump back in.
I mean,
I hope not. But
Greatest quarterback of all time. Love him for everything that he did in New England. We'll always love him for that. But man, him off the field has become so annoying, and I just want him to go away. If he's going to come back and be on the football field, that's fine by me. But the off the field stuff, that it just needs to, and I want nothing to do with him being an analyst. I don't think that he's going to be good there. I think he'll be more of a wet blanket. So we'll see. He's talked about how he's going to go and practice so that in 2024 he can be good as an analyst and things like that. But if he's still trying to come back, I don't. There's just I thought for the longest time, and I know this is a silly me being a Patriots fan thing, but we all thought Tom Brady was this perfect being. He was going to be the one that changes the way that the greatest of all time acts, especially towards the end of his career. He's not going to be like that dumb Brett Favre and do the will he, won't he nonsense and things like that. He's not going to jump around and go team to team like Peyton Manning and try and ring chase on another team or anything like that. And I get that this is partially or mostly because of the fact that he was pushed out of New England or whatever you want to talk about with that. But it's so frustrating that it's come to this point. And I know I'm just a baby New England Patriots fan whining about my old greatest of all time quarterback, who I thought was actually the perfect human being. He's just a regular guy in a lot of these senses. He's going out there and he's doing the same exact stupid things that I've hated about these quarterbacks that retired at the end when they knew, I'm getting towards the end of my career. I don't know if I have enough left. Maybe I will. I want it. Maybe I don't. That stuff is so annoying to me. So, like I said, I'll never take anything away from him as a player, but the off the field stuff is just so annoying, and I want nothing to do with him as an analyst. Do you want him as an analyst?
I'm going to be honest. I don't have the energy to go back at you, to clap back at you, to use an expression on how much vitriol you got for my boy Tommy. Honestly, I know to me, when he signed that deal, what was it like? Something crazy, right? It was, I forget what the numbers were.
It's like 150
it sounded
million
like,
or something.
to me, it sounded like you needed like something to like lean against, like, right? So my idea was like, all right, so you need like a shared revenue. Maybe he's trying to get a loan, like a big loan from a bank to like buy into a team, like buy into a football club, like something crazy, right? So like the idea is like, oh yeah, I have this much worth. I'm partnered with these people, and I also have like I can get money from a bank, hopefully not Silicon Valley Bank, but you can get money from Bank X because you have a shared revenue like contract on the books. And like, so I never like, I don't know. To me, it's like a 50-50 toss up if he actually ever gets in the booth. To me, the idea was like he wanted something to loan against versus like actually get in the booth. I agree with you. He's probably going to effing suck in the booth. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like you can't be the goat at like a bunch of stuff. You can be the goat at like one thing and like that's it.
Just be number one as the greatest football player of all time and leave it at that, Tom. Right off into the sunset and go hang out with models like we know you're going to do and just have a good time. And Matt can follow you on that adventure that you go on. But I just like the one thing that I always said, the only thing that Peyton Manning was ever better at than Tom Brady was his charisma, was his ability off the field to go host an SNL or do something like that and have the humor, the timing, the comedic sense, all of that. That's what Peyton Manning has over Tom Brady. Tom Brady has everything else. So it's off the field Brady, not for me. So I get it. That's hitting a nerve with you though. I won't go too much harder on your boy Tom Brady. We can switch things up. I did have one more thing I wanted to talk about with you. It's a goofier topic for us ending off the show here because I just saw about this whole situation with the World Baseball Classic. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't follow it at all. I haven't been paying attention to the World Baseball Classic. There's other sporting events that I'm much more interested in. Baseball, the real season is just around the corner. But now you got the whole situation with Edwin Diaz, the closer, one of, if not the best closer last year for the Mets, in a celebration, not even during the game. We're not even talking about a game here. We're talking about celebration. Not a game. A celebration where he jumps up and down and messes up I think it was his knee, and now he's out for the entire season. So I got to ask you, Matt, the big question has been, why the heck are these pro athletes in the MLB going down and playing in the World Baseball Classic Do you think that it matters at all? Do you think that it's a good thing? Do you think that these players should be going down there and playing for these teams? Or do you think that they should be getting prepared for the real season, which is the MLB and spring training, and slowly ramping things up? What are your thoughts about that? I know we're both kind of more casual baseball fans, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, you're never, especially with a union like the MLB, the MLBPA, like you're never ever gonna tell guys that they can't go represent their country, go play in these things. So to me, it's like World Cup, it's like Olympics. Like if I'm an owner of a team, like of course I don't want you to expose yourself to more risk. I don't want you giving good value, good minutes, good anything, good play to another team that isn't the one that I invested in. So I get their side of it, but boohoo, you're worth billions. Like, shut up. Like, for players, like,
I
go
agree with
play.
that.
For him, for Edwin Diaz, like that. I mean, that's like Janikowski level. That's like something that you just. I mean, you celebrate, like you get injured celebrating like that. That sucks. I mean, I didn't even like see, like, I think it was his patella tendon. I think it was what came out this morning. But like, I was watching the video, like, and I'm like waiting for someone to like collapse, and like, I don't see like which jump when he's jumping up and down, like which one did it. But, like, well, all of a sudden you see him in the middle, like, and he just, I sort of laughed, which was like sad, but like when he like was getting wheeled off and he like the wave to the crowd, like I'd have maybe done that, but like my head would be in my shirt. Like I would wave like, hey, like you're supposed to wave, but like I would not want to see a reaction. Like I'd do that because I'm supposed to. I would not like that. It's embarrassing, man. It's absolutely embarrassing.
I was kind of hoping.
And the Mets.
I was kind of hoping in that moment that they were going to play that horn song as he was going up.
No.
No, we make jokes, but you never want anybody to be injured. But you actually brought up the point that I was going to make. It's like they're looking at this World Baseball Classic as if it's on the same level as the World Cup or the Olympics. I don't think anybody really takes it that serious. I think I get it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great for the sport and growing it in some of these other countries, Puerto Rico and Japan and these places where they do have a love of baseball and they're building the sport over there. I think that that's great. But you don't take it as the rest of the world doesn't take it as serious as an Olympics or a World Cup or something like that. So I don't care about the owners and they can waste all the money they want. Boo-hoo for them. Go cry in your billions of dollars. But the fans is who I feel bad for. They're the ones that are putting in their heart and soul, rooting for these teams. And they're not even really paying attention to the World Baseball Classic. And all of a sudden, one of your best players is now out for the entire season because of it. I mean, I get that it's good for some of these countries that are trying to build and they love the sport of baseball. Like I said, Puerto Rico that is their World Series. That's their World Cup. That's everything for them. And I love that for them. But at the same time, if you want to watch high level baseball with these superstar athletes, shouldn't you just be waiting for the MLB? Shouldn't you just be watching your players play at the highest level against the other highest level talents over there? And lastly, why is it not more like the Olympics where they have like the top tier college athletes or college age athletes from these countries going and playing for this? Why does it have to be the pro athletes that go down there? If you're so obsessed with the pro athletes, watch the MLB. If you just want to watch different players from different countries play baseball at the college level or just play baseball, I should say, why can't it just be college level guys? Why does it have to be Edwin Diaz and JD Martinez and the higher level guys? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that part of it.
Because dudes want to represent their country and they want to go out and win. It's as simple as that. I mean, and it's like you can't tell these guys no. And like, I mean, who wouldn't? To me, like if I'm a player, right, I don't like. Oh, you can go do like your typical spring training that you do every year, or you can go compete, like actually have competition, like and warm up that way. Like I don't know. I like it. I have no issue with players going to do it. It sucks that a freak accident happens like this. If I do know anything, I'm pretty sure that Steve Cohen, the Mets owner, can go out and buy another closer. I don't know what the market is right now, but he'll go create one. They'll go overpay for somebody, and they'll be fine. That guy just absolutely poops out money.
Yeah, that's true. No, I don't care about the owners. I just care about, you know what? Maybe if you put something, change up the name. Don't call it the World Baseball Classic because that just seems like some whatever. We got like the Winter Classic over here. That's just a regular season game. You got like things like that. Call it the World Cup of Baseball. Call it something like that. Now maybe people will start to get into it. Maybe that'll be a big.
So now you're a marketing major. Now you're a marketing major. Now you know everything.
put it on a different hat for a second here. Maybe we'll change some things up. We'll see how things go. Now, I don't know. It's going to be it's just a funny topic to me because I want players to be able to represent their country and everything, but this doesn't seem like the place to do it. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. That's enough for this show. That's enough for the Clapp Trap today. I just want to say thank you to Matt for coming in and being on the show today. We will have you back in the future to talk more rants about Joe Mazzulla's timeouts. We'll talk more about the Patriots. We'll do all about that in the future. But for now, we're going to sign off for today. So thank you, Matt, for coming on. I appreciate it.
You heard it here first. Celtics first round bounce.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, go for that one. Fade Matty on that one. But we're going to be gambling and everything, doing all that kind of stuff today. But we'll be back next week to talk more about everything sports related, New England sports, all that, more March Madness, everything like that. So thank you again, Matt. See you later.
See you in a few hours, bud.